Hey everybody, welcome for joining another another episode of Box Seats. I'm your host Frank Holder. This is the show we talk about sports with comedians. And I gotta add, I can never remember to add some sound to that back piece. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that in a bit. Anyway, let me introduce my special comedian today, getting ready to join in the show, comedian known as the name of Daniel Dugar, good friend of mine. Double D, how you doing, sir? How's everything?
Good. What's up, brother? How you doing, Frank?
All right. Looks like it's gonna be just me and you today, man, as we wait for a couple other
It's,
fellas to jump in.
it's,
That's okay. We
it's
can
all
handle
good.
we
It's
can hold it
I
down.
like the way you think. So we good. We in good hands.
Yeah, we can hold it down. We can hold it down. So let me jump into this, man, and jump into this episode real quick because there's a lot of stuff I want to cover with you, including last week's games and the games over the weekend. But let me start with a couple of headlines and stuff. From one of the first things I want to jump into you is Houston Texans special teamer Chris Boyd. In case you're sitting at home, you haven't seen it. He got into something with his coach named Frank Ross after a great play. Now, the crazy thing about this is people are talking about it. And, before I even jump into it, in case you haven't seen it, this is what I call the coach push that we're about to jump in and discuss right now. Let me let you see it, and then you tell me what you think. So that's the push. Now, D, here's my thing with this. When I saw it live, When I saw it live, I didn't think anything wrong with that. I thought he was celebrating. You know what I mean? He made a play. He thought at the exact moment, he literally thought that the ball got turned over, and then when they kicked it, into the Kansas City Chiefs, he thought it was a turnover. So he ran over, just like how dudes jump in and bump chests and everything else. That's how I took it as when it's live. Right now, at this moment as we speaking, he's getting tore up and down in Houston. People are talking about him like right now, saying he should be suspended. It was disrespectful. Him putting his hands on his coach. I think he has a great relationship bond with his coach, but he feels like he could touch him, and didn't think nothing of it. D, what's your thoughts on this? Is it a cultural thing? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts?
I live here in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and which fan base is really giving him a hard time? I know the state I live in. I come from a blue state. I'm in a red state now. I know the people that love this cat. Texas loves him, but group of fan base is really giving him the hard time?
Good
I
question.
read I read it just as you read it. A celebratory type of shove and push, um, but not even understanding that the play wasn't what he was celebrating it for.
Right.
So the sidelines could have been like, dude, what are you doing, man? We didn't get the ball, blah, 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 whatever. And he's celebrating what fan base is doing that. And then again, had he done that to another coach that may have resembled him, would he still be getting this? I'm just being honest because I know the state that I live in and I see the temperature and the frequency in which it operates.
Hmm. Well, the interesting thing about this is I think you're absolutely right. You're spot on. I honestly think it's a cultural thing too. You know what I mean? I literally think it's a cultural thing. I think a lot of white folks don't understand that black men, when they celebrate different than the average. You know what I mean? They do the chest bump thing sometimes, but most of the time they do the push. Like they're pushing you, saying you the man. You know what I mean? It's a push. It's a shove. Like if I saw you right now, I'd give you a pound. But if you did something on stage right now, I'd walk up to you and push you, be like, "That's how you do." You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do to you. And you wouldn't get I would hope you didn't get offended, and you'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's what I think, and I think it's a cultural thing. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And then also, um, it's the conservative fans that don't understand today's culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that fan base that's really on him? Hey, this black guy, it's a cultural thing, but you don't push a white coach like that and this and that. And that. We took offense to that because we are more conservative here. Whereas had he done that to the head coach, it probably wouldn't have been much, oh, that's what they do. that kind of thing. I'm trying to look between the lines because folks are making it a big deal. My
Mhm.
village, it's water under the bridge. We're not tripping off of it. But
Matter of fact, we weren't even talking about it. Honestly,
yeah,
I
maybe my neighbor across the street and next door to me, I'm like, hey Dan, did you see that play? The guy shoved him. What the look, man? It's a cultural thing, bro. He
right.
didn't mean nothing by it. I'm sure he has mad love for and respect for his coach. It's just a generational thing.
Yeah, I 100%. I agree with that. Let's move on, man. I want to talk about Jaden Daniels because I saw 3 or 4 stories. Cat sent me this. 3 or 4 stories. Cats were sending me this. I don't know if you saw this when I'm gonna post this right now. Jaden Daniels has been training since college with VR technology. He's been putting on the goggles and basically doing in-game, in-game plays and everything else as if he's playing the game. Except what he's been doing during that is he has it sped up and he's speeding it up towards making it like faster when he plays the VR games. And the VR games, if you sit at home and you're not aware of and everything else, these things seem like they're actually real. You know what I mean? Like especially when the ones that Apple are putting out right now, they're absolutely real. And you can speed them up, you can slow it down. So for him, he's speeding it up. And then there's some people out there who were saying that's like an unfair advantage that he was doing it. And Jaden Daniels and his team, everybody's been saying like, everybody had the same ability to do this. It's not cheating. It's not unfair advantage. It's out there for you. Your team can choose to do it or not. Again, people trying to come up with things. Yeah. So now you
So
hear what's your take on this? Because he's playing, he's balling
who
out.
who's the messenger?
Yeah, I'm just right now. I'm just
It's like who's the messenger? This kid has been playing like this at LSU.
right.
This kid, I mean, kids do video games. So if he decided and he saw something, man, you know what? This is really relatable to what I do out on the field. I'm a dial into this while everybody else is playing for beer and pizza money. I'm gonna go ahead and really take this to another level. You can't blame them for that. I mean, that's no different than uh, kids being recruited to the military that are outstanding with Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I think Jaden Daniels has been playing the best football from that position with anybody left in the playoffs.
I think so too, and I don't think it's an unfair advantage because if you look at it, he's been doing it for over 2 years. You know what I mean.
Right.
He's playing at the best and the peak of his ability. I'm not mad at him. He's been doing that. Shout out to JP Justice. He's out there. He said that he's in the VR world doing stand up in VR rooms, which is something I got to check out. And he also said that VR is great for hand and eye coordination. I 100% agree because at the end of the day, if he could be able to speed that game up, he's doing his thing. So next thing, man, obviously the big news today, if you're sitting at home, you guys saw, I'm sure everybody knows, the Chicago Bears hired Ben Johnson, and he's obviously left. I put up a question yesterday and said this, and I'm going to ask you to get your thoughts on this because some of the cats agreed, some of the cats didn't disagree. I think the Detroit Lions window is officially closed. And I hate to say that because I really wanted to see them get to the Super Bowl. But when you start taking out offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators and everything and key elements of your team, you start pulling, it's hard to get back there. You know what I mean? What's your
So
take?
so him coming over there, I get it, but to me that was a checker move, not a chess move.
Why you say that?
Be, be, has he ever head coached?
Nope. No.
Does he know that that's a whole different energy and a different entity from being an offensive coordinator?
Who
I
knows?
mean, it really right. Some people transition into it, but most of them don't. I mean, I think there's some qualified head coaches out there that could have probably stepped in, left him in that position, gave him a pay raise, and they would probably continue that march.
But he
That
has
window
Caleb
could.
Williams, though, D. He has Caleb Williams, though. So,
He has Caleb Williams.
Bears. So
Caleb Williams is actually a pretty darn good quarterback.
right.
But the history of Chicago, I can't remember the last good one they had over there. McMahon, was it?
Hmm.
That's as far as I go back. Everybody else has sucked, and everybody else has been sent there. It's almost like you're killing their career by five
Mm-hmm.
years. So the young brother who got out of there, I think Pittsburgh gonna do something with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh gonna do something with that young brother because Tomlin is probably only like, man, this boy actually got a skill set. Y'all didn't put no offensive line for him in the plays y'all were calling. So Detroit's window, I don't think is completely closed yet.
Okay.
It depends on who they're gonna bring in
Mm-hmm.
also to be aligned with him. Because Detroit got some players over there, man. I don't think the window's closed completely over in Detroit, but I also think Chicago really has a good quarterback, a Pro Bowl potential quarterback with Williams if they give him the protection.
Okay.
Because the kid has a skill set.
Okay. And again, you didn't say anything wrong that I disagree with. But in my opinion, and again, of course, this is just my opinion. I can't prove it or not. Honestly, I don't even know if Ben Johnson can fix the issues that the Bears had because the Bears had an okay offensive. They had an okay offensive coordinator last year. They had a lot of stars on. They had wide receivers. They had Caleb Williams. So I'm like the problem was I think was more than that, But I didn't dive in too deep into the Bears to really look at it. But I think their issues are bigger than that. You know what I mean? So they fired.
Could it be that this guy can bring over there a culture that Detroit has experienced the last 2 to 3 years
Good
and
question.
bring into that locker room a different energy, a different goal, a different mindset, a different
Good question.
approach from what the Bears have been getting. I don't really believe somebody could come in and just revamp a locker room that fast. You already got key players over there. Sometimes, Frank, I think what we need sometimes our pilot light goes dim, and you just need somebody to come in there and turn it up and relight it.
I mean, that's well said. Yeah. But is Dan Campbell the one who's responsible for the whole thing? Because you could literally argue and say Dan Campbell's the one. He's the one who set the culture in Detroit. Ben Johnson had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So you're taking a chance. Listen, as a Patriots fan, I'm the first one to tell you, I don't want no head coach coming in here who ain't got no head coach experience. We already saw how that happened. I don't like it. No, I want somebody who has experience to say, which we ultimately got. I'm happy about that part.
To your point,
Yeah.
great analogy. To your point, we're gonna find out come August
Right.
with both teams.
Right.
Because we're all speculating now. We don't know.
Yeah, that's 100%. All right, so next now, moving on. Mark Andrews has been in the news and in the news and in the news, and a lot of his players have been coming forward in the last couple of days, speaking up for him. If you guys are not familiar with the reason why everybody's talking about Mark Andrews, he was the tight end who dropped the pass. But I talked about it. But you know what? Take a look here. You take a look, and then you tell me what your thoughts are about this. He's been killed. He's been getting killed. I mean, people are coming at him. He's getting death threats. He's getting all kind of threats that you can name and everything else. And he's now on the fact side, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. He's one of the best tight ends the Baltimore Ravens have ever had in franchise history. He's been in one of the best, players overall that the team has had in the last 20, 25 years. So my thoughts are, I mean, it wasn't just on him that he dropped that play, but it's not just his fault. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
This dude has been the best tight end they've had since Shannon Sharp.
Yep, 100%.
Hands just like Shannon Sharp. Some people say better.
Yeah.
So when you look at that emotion right now in Baltimore, emotions are high and logic is low.
Oh, I like that.
Lamar put it in his hands. But he put it in his hands. If you really want to slow it down and go technical, Lamar did everything that he was supposed to do. He threw the ball. He put it there. The guy is going backwards. We're not world-class athletes. He's in the snow. He's going backwards. He reached back just behind him a tad bit, hand-eye coordination, snow elements, slippery. We don't know what happened, lack thereof focus. He dropped the ball. Would we have dropped the ball? Most people that are complaining, probably so. Because we probably wouldn't have been able to handle the elements, the pressure. Is somebody coming to smack you real quick? You're going backwards. He's not a little guy, so you got to understand his momentum and his weight is going backwards. The ball is coming at him. So he reaches back just a tad because the pass was thrown just a little bit behind him, just a little bit. But he put it in his hands. And everyone says, as a wide receiver, tight end, if the ball hits your hands, you bring it in, you catch it.
Mhm.
He's going backwards. We don't. I say the Ravens window is closing.
Oh, okay.
I would say their window is closing. Lamar is done all that he's been asked to do. I mean, is he an MVP candidate? Yes. Are they going to give it to him? Probably not, because they want to see this boy Josh Allen so bad, and Josh Allen is the truth. I'm not taking nothing away from him. But I believe the Ravens window is closing.
Okay, you got to expound a little bit on why, because
I think the Ravens window is closing because you say to yourself, they've been knocking at that door. They've been knocking at that door. What, 3 seasons?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I don't see the Bills getting any weaker. I don't see the Chiefs getting any weaker. And then you got some other teams that are coming up too. We see it. We're witnessing it. We're watching it. So, yeah, man, that right there for me, when I saw that happen, I just shook my head. I said, "Wow, that could have been the end of a run before you start changing personnel."
You made a great point, because the Houston Texans are getting better. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be back there. You don't know what's going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers could put it all together. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh Steelers are 1 quarterback away, and Jared Goff is sitting there trying to decide if he's going to come back, obviously with the Detroit Lions. You got, obviously, Justin Fields. He might come back to you never know. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers could be 1 great QB away, too. I mean, you just never know. So, yeah, I think of that.
And Frank, it could be the kid that they have already that played behind Wilson.
Yeah.
Because Tomlin knows his stuff, man. People can criticize him all he wants, but he's that type of coach players want to play for. And I can recall back in the day, Cordell Stewart had the same abilities that the backup QB that Fields has. And you say to yourself, wait a minute, man. If we put the right system and the right schemes around this kid and really let him use his physical, natural attributes along with passing and running, all he needs is pass protection. When he has pass protection, we've witnessed him put it there. We watched him do that in college. So you're right. Pittsburgh is 1 QB away because they got the weapons.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just looking at the way it's coming together for the AFC. The AFC is about to be a gauntlet. Like it's literally going to be to a point whereas teams won't be able to repeat because there's going to be so many great QB-led teams. You know what I mean? But again, it also depends on injuries. It depends on team formation.
And then also, Frank, I mean, this is another thing. This is the most in the history of the NFL of starting black quarterbacks. Look how much the black quarterback has changed the landscaping of coaching, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators trying to stop that offensive coordinator schemes with that athletic black quarterback. We've never seen this before.
Yeah, but D, then I would counter that because I like to counter. I would like to counter that and say the white QBs are getting good too, because and here's the thing: you got literally Josh Allen. He's doing what his thing is, and we have our own quarterback who plays. He literally is a copy of Josh Allen. I mean, I think it'd be better to say the QB position has changed overall because of the black quarterback, but he's opened up the doors to the way the field is being played now overall. You know what I mean? Just back in the pocket playing like Tom Brady, those days are over. If you play just to add
to what you're saying, I agree 100%. I don't think the quarterback position has changed for the black quarterback.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
I believe it's changed for the mindset of the GMs, the head coach, and the offensive coordinators to implement that white QB. Hey, you got to do what these black guys are doing.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been doing this since day one. Since day one, since the Eddie Robinson days. This is what they've been doing. In the pocket now, we can't do that anymore. We got linebackers that are faster than running backs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you got guys who are coming out. I watched the championship game last night, and I'm looking at that. Those QBs are running. You know what I mean? Those guys are white. Those QBs are running.
Both of them.
Yeah,
both of them.
And they're balling. They're balling.
Yeah,
the days of Drake May coming in, I'm about to getting ready to change the league now.
Yeah.
And I will give it to the black QB, the Doug Williams and those kind of guys. And obviously Michael Vick, they started something that was already started anyway, but they made it a point to say, listen, black QB is here. Now and today, there's 15, 16 starting QBs now in the league who are black QBs. And if you don't do it, if you don't keep up, you're gonna lose your job. You're gonna lose your job. So So anyway, I want to come back to the NFL because I want to ask you what your thoughts are on the games and everything else. But when I tell you I saw something, I couldn't wait to get you on the show today because, brother, I want to talk about the NBA. First question I saw is a guy by the name of John O'Connor posted up in CBS Sports today. He said his headline is, it literally says, in order for Golden State to rebuild, they should trade Stephon Curry and Draymond Green today. That's the headline. CBS Sports, John Connor. I was like, wow. I was saying, and you know this because I said this to you 2 years ago, when Golden State was in the finals with the Celtics, me and you was going back and forth because I was like, in order for them to get over the hump the next year, because it's going to come fast, they need to trade Draymond Green now. Here they are now, and they're playing sub 500 basketball, literally 24 months later, and they're trying to figure out how they could rebuild. Now you know they could have got a treasure haul for Draymond Green 2 years ago.
Let me ask you, do you remember me last year posting in my village, Golden State Warrior fans were on me when I said get rid of Draymond?
Yeah, because I respond to that. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I was like, get rid of Draymond, and I would have traded Kuminga.
Yeah, I agree.
And Catch was like, man, you crazy. I said, no, man. I remember when B. Shaw was telling us about Kuminga in the G League. He says, man, I got this kid. He young. He ain't been playing ball that much. He jumps out the gym. Anybody could jump out the gym, but what is his skill set? What is his basketball IQ? What is his decision-making skills? Kuminga can jump out the gym and all that. He's a slasher, but he doesn't fit the Golden State Warriors traditional system that Kerr put together. And those players are wise and smart and unselfish players. Kuminga wants to be a star. We understand that. We get it. Keep it. Trading Steph Curry, no. You trade Steph Curry, your whole attendance is going to go down. You should have traded Draymond. You should have packaged him. You should have packaged a Kuminga. You should have. I mean, there's so many players you could have sent to be a bigger team now and actually be. I still think Golden State's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I still think they're going to make. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. But it's like, I would have sent Draymond. I would have sent Draymond to the Lakers so fast. You can have him, but this is what I want from the Lakers. I want Austin Reeves. I want Hachimura, and I want that one center kid that comes off the bench that's been hurt. Y'all give me them. Y'all can have Kuminga, Draymond, and I give you Polzinski.
That's not a bad idea for a trade, but would the Lakers have done it? Because the Lakers are handcuffed too. But it's a lot. Look, the Lakers are handcuffed to 2029, 2030 with the way that they've been doing. I don't even know how they're going to make things unless they trade LeBron. I don't see how they get or LeBron or AD. I don't see how they get in there out of their trade jail because they so bad off too with paperwork.
Whose fault is that? I wonder.
Yeah,
with the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This guy, LeBron, people never say anything about LeBron coming in and trading damn near the whole team to bring in AD. When you look around the league, those players that were traded, all of them are solid players.
And they're doing well, especially with Kuzma. Like, I love Kuzma.
All of them are doing well.
Yeah.
Ingram still has a skill set. He just needs to be on a different team. He needs to be out of New Orleans. You put Ingram somewhere else and he stays healthy, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Honestly, you put him with the Houston Rockets.
Oh my God! You put him with Houston Rockets, there's going to be Houston. We have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Because I think
Yes.
Houston is number 2. I think they're the number 2 seed right now out of the West. You know what I mean?
Man, the whole city of Houston is popping. The football, the baseball, the basketball.
Yeah,
It's just a whole nother animal here now. That kid Green should have been on an all-star team.
yeah.
He's been balling like this for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he should have. And since you brought up All Star, I mean, before I jump back into the NBA, Stephen A. said something today because I had it in the background. I had to rewind it and play it back, man. I was like, you know what? I don't think Stephen A. was wrong with this, man. And I'm off script here a little bit, but he is of the thought process of the NBA getting rid of the entire NBA All Star weekend, and he thinks this is the last. He said if they do get it right this year, because it's I think it's in Golden State this year. I think he said it's
It
in
is.
San
It's in San
Francisco.
Francisco.
Yeah, he
It
said
is.
we need to make sure we fix it, and Steph Curry's gonna come out there. He said if you all can get everybody to participate in the game, 3-point shooting, then it stayed. But if you can't, get rid of it because it's a waste. And he was pleading because he's like, I got to cover this garbage. And I thought about it. I was like, that's not a bad idea, D, getting rid of the All-Star weekend. But then if you get rid of it, what do you replace it with? And how do you fix it?
So for me, and this is just me, man, honestly, a great idea for the All-Star weekend. You're going to always have the parties, you're going to always have the festivities, but the game within itself. I say the slam dunk competition, you allow for G League dunkers and professional touring dunkers to be involved and make it to where there's a big purse to where the Ja Morants, the Zions, the Greens, some of those other cats decide, hey, we're going to get this because there's $1 million bonus winning it. The All-Star game, I think it should be $1 million bonus. I don't know. What do they get for winning it now?
It's $1 million, I think. Yeah, $6 million.
Okay, so you ante that up. There's a
Mm.
$2 million bonus per player on the roster. The NBA can afford it. They can do it to where you have the European All-Stars that are in the NBA play against the American-born All-Stars that are in the NBA.
Did you
Now
watch
you
Box
play.
Seats? Did you watch Box Seats? Because I literally said that 3 days ago. I literally said that 3 days.
I said this 2 years ago.
Wow, I
And
literally said
Cash
that
was
3
saying,
days
"Oh
ago.
no, Dugard, he can't do that." I say, "Man, listen. If
That's a great
you do
idea.
something like that, now you have this sense of pride because Stern was all about globalness, especially
Right,
when you had a Jordan and you had a Kobe.
right.
Now you got European young players like your young Lucas are looking at this saying, "Whoa, look at this." Now they're playing for Europe and the other continents that are non-USA against these guys. There's a sense of pride. It's almost like you have your own intertwined NBA Olympic game.
I 100% agree because SGA is from Canada. That I mean, you got so many kids. You put SGA and Luca in the backcourt. You got
Woo!
that right there would get everybody. Ooh, I want to see this.
Greek freak.
Yeah, you get him into
Now,
power forward.
would Embiid come back and play for his country, or does he wants to stay dual citizenship? Right. Then you
Yeah,
got the young kid from Paris and San Antonio. Come on, man.
yeah.
Are
That,
you
that
kidding me?
that's it right there. That's it
Now
right
you're
there.
playing for pride. Who's really the best basketball players now?
That's what I said.
Because to be quite honest with you, the game has changed because of the European player.
Right. And what I said also to piggyback on that, what I said also, this is how I started the conversation. Now, I said what they should do is get some of the best European players all over that over the world, whether it's Europe or Asia, and bring them all here and have them play against the NBA All-Stars. And if they can't do that, then have the players who are already in the league play against them and then set it off. And I also said, listen to this. I also said for a 3-point contest, I said this last year on Box Seats. I said what would be dope if they had the HBCU players come in, because these boys are dunking out the gym. They, and then Stephen A said something this morning, which I even thought was better than the HBCU kids. He was like, put $1 million prize up for anybody to come in and be competing in the dunk contest. He said we should tour it. He said First Take should tour around the country. They tour around the country. They pick the top 10 dunkers from each city, come in for $1 million prize. He said that'd be way more entertaining than what we're seeing now. And I was like, you know what? if that ain't the best idea I heard, I was like, I can't even top that.
It's not a bad idea, but I think it should be done in tiers and categories. What you
Mhm.
said about the European players from all over the world, like I think that would be a great idea to have you get 12 to 15 of those players play against a combined all-star G League team, play
Mhm.
against them. So now you have that tier. Now you take the NBA pros, European pros, and American pros, have them play against each other. And then as far as the slam dunk contest, um, I don't HBCUs, cats off the streets, because what you want it to be, it's still the NBA All
Mhm.
Star event. So that right there is a different type of animal you got to dissect. But I believe that yeah, that's a tough one right there with the slam dunk. Because to be totally honest with you, I could care less about the slam dunk contest anymore
Right.
because
Right.
there's too many objects and stunt. How many times are we going to watch somebody jump over somebody? Let it be the in-game type of dunks where there's no props. You can't jump over. Nobody's spinning. No cars. No human bodies. No chairs. No assist from anybody. Just go and do the thing. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? That's interesting to me.
Yep.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah, but you got to raise it up too. You got to get the Ja Morant. You got to get well, LeBron's obviously out of it. What's that kid from Minnesota? His name escapes me. Ant. You got to get Ant in.
Anthony.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you got to get him. You got, and then that the couple of kids coming on Detroit. Like there's some guys who are coming up who are in the league. You got to get them to participate. So how do you get the NBA players to participate? And I think I figured that part out. I think if what NBA has already started to do, they already started saying, hey, if the East wins, they donate a portion to their, their not public schools.
Foundation.
Yeah, they do that
Charities.
charity. Yeah, so my thing is, if you get a person in the NBA saying, listen, Ja, you got a charity that you support right now. I know you're tired of getting the money out and everything else. The NBA is gonna put up $1 million, and we're gonna get the sponsors to put up another $1 million to the charity you name. All you gotta do is if you win. So now you're playing slam dunker for $2 million. Granted, you ain't putting it in your pocket, but you will do a lot of good for the charities that you're representing, and everybody will know it because it's on TV. I think that's how you motivate the players. I think that's what you do because you put the charity in front of them, and I think that's what they
Hmm.
should do instead of trying to
I
put money
like
in their
I like
pocket.
that. I like that.
Because honestly, D, money in their pocket, they got so much money. Do you realize? Here's another question for you, D. Do you realize in your lifetime, hell, in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be players with $100 million contracts coming
So
out right now?
yeah, so like with that, I did a thing. Me and my cousin, my cousin Derek, who's the NBA ref.
Yeah, I don't want
We
to talk
we
about
did
it.
a we did a breakdown. We did a breakdown on just the reality of the salaries
Uh-huh.
because they're really a facade of what the numbers say.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, you got $100 million a year contract, so that 100 million, you probably taking home 48.
Maybe more like 35 after you take away a little bit more. State taxes. Yeah.
Your state taxes. That's why a lot of cats move to Florida.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to deal with that and the weather is better. But a lot of people aren't aware of the jock tax. Every state, every city that you play in, you're taxed based on what that tax bracket, what that is,
Right.
that percentage is. And most of these NBA players, 4 to 5 years after they're done playing, they're broke.
Right. Right.
Bad investments, too many whips. Why do you need five Bentleys?
Right.
Those kind of things. So yeah, I understand that. It's just like the quarterback position. It's inflated. It's really overpaid. I've always been old school to where salaries should be adjusted to what you've done,
Mm-hmm.
not market value. Because I'm a 49er guy, but I don't think Purdy should be the highest paid player.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. If
So
he's gonna even be there anymore, because right now that's a whole other conversation. San
right.
Francisco,
So another guy, yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to switch this up and get back to NFL and get your thoughts on the games this past weekend and get your thoughts on why we still have time. So the first up is obviously one of the biggest games that happened over the weekend was the Bills played the Ravens. And to me, that was my Super Bowl, bro. That was I did everything around that whole weekend waiting for that one game, and I was not disappointed. Now, I mentioned the drop earlier. Obviously, that drop was, really, really something. It really hurt a lot of people. I didn't care who wins. I'm a Patriots fan. I didn't care, but the questions now have been popping up. Is Lamar windows closing? Are the Ravens still going to be there? Just continue. There's so many questions coming out of Baltimore right now. And my biggest question is you had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson had plays to run the previous week before. They had so many. This past week, Lamar Jackson literally had 0 plays called for him to run, and Derrick Henry only had 15. The prior week, Lamar Jackson had 17 plays run, and Derrick Henry had about 22. Just 1 week prior. And when they started with Lamar Jackson not running, and then when Derrick Henry was running the ball, they were winning the game. They caught up into Buffalo by running the ball. You saw the game. You saw it.
I saw the game. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, your takeaways from the Buffalo
My
Bills?
my thoughts on that is that offensive coordinators and head coaches never stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Conditions also. Okay, we playing in snow. Did they play in snow last week?
Yeah, snow on the ground. Yeah.
In both places they played in snow.
Snow.
So you say to yourself, this team that we're getting ready to play the Bills. They are studying. They watching our game. They're watching film. So we can't run the way we were doing it because they're going to be looking for that. So we're going to try something else. And usually when they try something else and don't stick to the plan and the design that got you there, that's the distraction and you fall off instead of staying the course. Instead of attempting to run those running plays of Jackson and Henry, you diverted from that. And you played right into Buffalo's hands because you could have won that game, but you took away from what buttered your bread. And that's
And I got to give a shout out to Trina, who's a Buffalo Bills fan. So since Trina's watching, what's your takeaway right now on the Buffalo Bills? Because honestly, those boys are balling too. Like, they look really hard to beat. What's your takeaway, D?
I don't think they're hard to beat because I believe the Ravens missed opportunities to beat them. I mean, they really had them up against the ropes.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm not a Chiefs fan at all, but I'm not a Chiefs hater, but I'm not a Chiefs fan. I hope the Chiefs beat the brakes off of them.
Off of the Bills?
Off of the Bills. And I really want to see, because I believe Saquon, to me, was the MVP. Especially if they would have let the brother break the record. He was the MVP. That record's been standing for 40 years. How do you not give it to him? And when you watch him play, he's a video game. He's exciting to watch when he has that ball. I'm rooting for the Eagles to beat Washington, but I like Washington.
Yeah, honestly,
I love Washington.
I love Washington.
Yeah, but I want to see because Jalen Hurts is a Houston boy. He's a Houston boy. I want to see him win just because of all of the bad hands he was dealt, even from when he was Roll Tide. On just how, you know what I'm saying? I want to see him get one. I want to see the Eagles versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I'm hoping that the Eagles can pull that out. But hey, they got to get past Washington, man, because something over here on this shoulder right here, Frank, is telling me Washington Redskins are going to be in the Super Bowl.
Something over here, my shoulder's telling me they definitely beating the Eagles. It's telling me actually on both shoulders they beating the Eagles. That's why I wish David was on the show right now.
It is so possible. It is so real. Yeah.
When you play a team that's within your division and you play them twice, you know what I mean? You already know what to expect the other team. You know what they're gonna do. You know what they can't do. You know already knows each other. You know what I mean? And the Commanders are going up and the Eagles are going down, and then the Eagles aren't throwing the ball. Jalen Hurts looks a little bit hurt. You know what I mean? But I will give the Eagles this one thing. I can't even front on this. The Eagles got the best offensive line I've seen in years. Like those boys are big. Like I wish the Patriots had them. Those boys are big. You know what I mean? And then once
They the
Saquon,
Hawk. They the Hawk. They the new version of the Hawks.
yeah, and when Saquon gets his spot and he sees some daylight from whichever one he gets,
He's gone.
yeah,
He's gone.
I don't see how you stop that. I don't see how you stop it. But you never
Right.
know. They might figure out a way how to do it. You know, because Jalen Hurts ain't throwing him. You know, he ain't throwing past to the Super
Right.
Bowl. He's just
Right.
not.
Right. I
So,
agree.
so that's my Buffalo Bills and everything. What's your takeaway on the Chiefs versus the Texans game? Because we talked about this yesterday, and I don't know if people realize it. There was 10 questionable calls. And listen, I'm a Patriots fan, and the Patriots used to get 1 or 2 questionable calls on their runs. The Chiefs got 10 in one game, and the most egregious one to me, and I know you in Texas, you heard it, was when Patrick Mahomes ducked and the two Texan players hit each other, and that kept their drive alive. That right there was the drive that killed the game for the Texans to me, and it blew the game, changed the whole momentum. Everything went the other way, and that was it for me, for them. You know what I mean? What's your take?
For me watching that game, I was like, when are they going to stop babysitting a free running quarterback when he becomes an offensive running weapon?
All right.
He has to get tackled the same way that running back or that wide receiver, that tight end is going to get tackled. And Mahone is such a slippery guy. You know, he's tricks. He's a bag of tricks. You're running, 2 guys coming to tackle him. He's upright. And then, boom, you duck real quick. Their helmets hit. You say that was head hunting? The guy was up. How can you control your body 250 to 80 pounds running to tackle another physical guy, and then he just slips, and then they hit, and you throw the flag? That was a horrible flag. And then the other one, when the guy came in to sack him, he came in like that, but he hit him up high with the hands. They call that too. But Texas also still had opportunities that they dropped to win the game or to take the lead.
Yeah. And it's fair to say, you could say that on any other day and in regular, if this was a regular field with no snow or anything else, the Texans would have beat the Chiefs. You know what I mean? I think the elements had a lot to do with it. I just think the calls had too much to do with it. So people are complaining about the Chiefs with this right now. Matter of fact, I saw an article today too that the NFL had to put forward and said that, you know, they are aware of all the disgruntled people about the Chiefs. They're aware of it. So they might not get as many calls this week, you know, when they play against the Bills. You know what I mean? That might be an issue, even though I think that they want to get them to the Super Bowl. I think, you know, with the Taylor Swift stuff and all that stuff, I think they want them to beat the Bills. So me personally, I'm rooting against the Chiefs. Like, I want the Bills to win. And I think it's the Bills. This would be literally Josh Allen's 4th go-round against the Chiefs. He lost the first 3. This would be his 4th go-round to get to the Super Bowl, and he lost all, you know. I think it's his turn. So, Lions versus the Commanders. You know, I wanted to make sure I got this out there to you because I talked about Jaden Daniels first at the beginning of this show with you and everything else. I think that we talked about it enough to say certain things about this. Washington Commanders, I see them turning the corner. I see the future being really bright. I just see positive things coming out of there. And I think that the Eagles have already peaked. So my pick this week is, I think the Eagles are obviously going to probably, you know, lose. But the Washington Commanders showed out, this, you know, and they played the Lions. And I think the Lions window's over. What was your take when you walked away from the game with the Lions versus the Commanders? What was your takeaway?
That was the best game of the series for me. That game was exciting. They were balling. Both teams wanted to win that game.
Right.
And the Redskins are just, I'm always gonna call them the Redskins.
Me too.
They are just clicking at the right time. And they got so many weapons where I don't even think some of these guys actually knew they were that good. They knew they were good, but they didn't know they were this good. And it has a lot to do with that QB.
They scored 45 points. They scored more points than anybody this whole weekend. They scored 45 points. And nobody's talking about that. Nobody's saying, hey, they scored 45
You know
points.
why? Because nobody wants to see this young brother who's a rookie. That's why I keep saying, man, it's like I really think Washington's going to beat them,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to see Jalen Hurts get his and Saquon get theirs because I believe Jaden Daniels is going to be back. I believe he's going to be back,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't be mad at this young black man who's a rookie to take him to the Super Bowl, and Josh Allen hasn't.
Let me even top you on that one, D. Don't let Tyreek Hill mess around and get out of Miami and
And
land
go to
up
the
on.
Redskins.
Don't let
Ooh,
that happen
it's
because
gonna
with
be a
his arm right
problem.
now, the way
It's gonna
he's
be a
throwing the ball,
problem.
and I already foresee we already know he wants out of Miami. Miami's going in the wrong direction. It's that he wants out of Miami, and they're going to trade him, and they're going to sit there and say, okay, where you want to go? He can go to a couple of places right now and trade and change their whole dynamic.
Yeah,
But to me,
correct.
if he's smart, he goes to Washington Commanders instead of going to Buffalo because Buffalo's half messy all the time. You know what I mean? Washington plays indoors, I think. I'm not sure, but I know it's not cold all the time like that for him as it is. Obviously, if he goes plays in a cold, cold team. You know what I mean? I think you look at the landscape and say where could he go that they could afford him that he could make the most difference at? It's San Francisco. He goes San
No,
Francisco.
he don't
But
want
I
to go
don't
to
like
San
that.
Francisco.
I don't
You
like that
know
either.
the other team that he would be a problem, where that team would automatically shift gears. The Falcons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was one of my teams. I was going to say San Francisco, the Falcons, the Eagles. Um, I'm missing somebody. The Falcons, the Eagles. You got two or three teams. He definitely ain't going back to and the Bengals because the Bengals gonna have to they're gonna lose one of their two guys. You know what I mean? And he's only gonna be
Hmm
25 million. So you put him now with the
hmm
Bengals, and now he's
But
one of those.
I don't. But the weather, though he did play in Kansas City,
Yeah,
if that kid goes to, because he's still a young dude, if he goes to the Redskins could be a Super Bowl favorite. If he goes to Atlanta, Atlanta is going to be a problem
yeah. Atlanta turns around from their issues, but
because
the best fit.
they got another quarterback over there too.
Yeah, but the best fit, I don't care what nobody says, it's the Washington
Redskins.
Commanders. Yeah, the
I agree.
Washington,
I agree.
that's the best fit. Literally,
Yeah.
you got the QB who runs around like how your boy used to do. Now he's new. He runs around and he has the whole plan and everything else. You get your touchdowns back because he's mad he ain't getting his touchdowns. You get your
And they got the defense, and they got the young defense.
yeah, and now the Washington Commanders are the team of the future. I don't care what
Yeah.
nobody says.
That means I gotta hear Red Grant. Damn.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you will.
You know, Red Grant gonna be posting every 5 minutes.
Yeah, he will.
Him and Earthquake. I can see it now. Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's the team of the future. You can't,
It
you can't.
is. I agree. I agree. I agree.
Meanwhile, you got the team of the past. Look like their situation is getting worse. Is the Dallas Cowboys? They got Pete Carroll in there now. They supposed to be setting up for Deion Sanders. If you're Deion, would you even take that? I don't know. It makes good financial sense to me for Deion taking the interview or possibly being the head coach. I just think he hurts himself if he goes to the Cowboys. You know what I mean? But what's your thought on that?
I first of all, I don't care about the Cowboys at all.
Me neither. Yeah.
I despise the Cowboys like I despise the Yankees. Um,
You my best friend today.
Dion Dion going to the Dallas Cowboys. I get it. I get it. I get it. Jerry Jones not being the talk of the interviews, it won't work
Right.
because Sanders is not going to be the guy that's going to put his tail between his legs when Jerry speaks. He's not cut from that. The perfect job for Dion is Florida State. That's it. I don't see him being in Colorado 2 more seasons.
Mm.
I really don't. If that Florida State job comes up some way, somehow, but Dion going to the pros is not the move. Be a teacher of men. Be a teachers of men is more secure. You don't want to go to the NFL. If he goes to the NFL, it's all about ego. And it's all
Mhm.
about him possibly trying to get his son to play with him. I think that also would be the worst thing to have his son play for him. I think a coach like Tomlin, it'll be a great coach for Shador.
Yeah. That's
I
a great
think I
fit. Yeah.
It's like you don't want him, because even if he goes to some of these other teams, I think the white coaches would do Shador a disservice because of their insecurities when Prime's name come up.
Hmm. See, again, I can counter a lot of things. Honestly, I don't even think it's about being a white or black coach. This is what I think. I think it's being a good or bad coach. Only because you know this too. There's some great white coaches. There are some great black coaches. And the way you said it just now, I want to make sure we get it lined up by saying some of these white coaches don't understand what they're getting when they get a gift. I understand that point. When they get somebody as talented as him, I get that. But
Yeah,
also, Dion could be a horrible coach too in the NFL, because now the NFL is a lot different than being in college, because college is not the same. I don't care what nobody says. If you know the sport, college coaching a college team is not like coaching an NFL team. It's just not.
not at all, not
No,
at all. It's a
no.
whole nother level, and that
Yeah,
slope is slippery too.
yeah, it is.
It's not.
It's not.
Shador with the Cowboys, if Dion goes over there, because Dion is going to try to pull a Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
going to try to pull an Archie Manning. He's going to try and do it. Um, I think he should stay where he is.
I 100% agree with you. But here, let me throw this other caveat out there to you before we wrap this up. What about Aaron Rodgers? Because Aaron Rodgers is not, he's
Retire, bro.
outdated.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
I,
Get him
I
out of here.
agree with that. But let's say he doesn't. What do the Jets do? The Jets move on from him? Does he move on? What team do you think is going to reach out to him? Because I think the Jets are going to release him. I think they're going to let him go, And if you put Aaron Rodgers with some teams who's a half QB,
I'm so I'll put a spin on this. I'll go ahead and throw a spin on this.
go ahead. Let me hear it.
The Jets release Rodgers. Rodgers finishes his season as a starting quarterback to give one more year of Purdy as a backup.
Hmm. Let me put a spin on top of your spin. Rodgers sees a team that's desperate need of a QB, and because they're not going to re-sign Sam Donaldson, and he goes to Minnesota Vikings.
Or the Raiders.
The Raiders is a little bit different in the sense of Raiders is not as good as the Vikings. In that sense, it's like that.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
The
yeah,
Vikings, they
yeah,
got a whole team. They need a
yeah.
quarterback. They need a
I can see,
quarterback.
I can see, I can see the Vikings because they got the weapons.
Yeah, and they got the
They got the
defense.
weapons. They got the
And
weapons.
yeah,
They got
they
the
got it.
weapons.
And then he
You
says,
know,
"Let me bring you all," because Sam Donaldson folded literally like a house of cards just now, because he hadn't seen that type of pressure, because he was never in the playoffs before, and he didn't expect to see what he saw. You put
I
Aaron
wasn't a big
Rodgers,
fan of him in college.
true, but you put Aaron Rodgers in that same position against the Lions and everything else, he wins that game in a Minnesota Viking uniform. You can't tell me he doesn't. You
Yeah,
tell me he doesn't. He missed everything.
I can,
But
I can
anyway,
see him. I can see him in Minnesota.
yeah, which would be funny, because now I'd be like, you doing the exact same thing Brett Favre did. You know what I mean? You just
Yep.
bouncing around. You went to the Jets, and he went to the Jets. You went to Minnesota. You go same thing, same thing. But anyway, I'm looking at the time, and tell everybody out there how they can follow you, what you got going on, what's new in your world. If you got a
Hey
special,
man,
anything.
I got a lot of projects I'm working on. Stay tuned for the book
Mhm.
this year. The comedy special this year. We're filming all of that. Um, you can on IG Daniel Dugar Carnival. They have me booked out until April of 2026. So
Please
uh,
explain.
I'm
Like in other words, you're going to be on a Carnival cruise for
yeah,
this.
Carnival. I have a residency on Carnival Cruise Line. You guys, you can always catch me on there. Just go to Daniel Dugar Carnival on my IG. You'll see my dates. I'll post my dates, my locations. If you're gonna cruise, boom, just hit me up. I'll let you know what ship I'm on. Um, constantly working, man. Constantly working, getting everything together. The comedy, you got to come to when I shoot my comedy special. It's going to be like no special you've seen because I'm shooting it completely different.
Okay,
It
can
will
you tell
not
me?
be no, I can't tell anybody. I'll
Okay,
tell you, but I'll tell you off the camera. Can't
okay.
tell anybody. Um, it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope because it fits my persona, it fits my style, my brand. And just hey man, stay tuned for a lot of positive things, a lot of great things. And I'm going to start going more silent, especially with this new regime change. I'm not going to be on the platforms as much as I have been. But I'll pop up and resurface when I'm getting ready to drop something.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time being on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to Trina and Renee and who else? Alicia and obviously Wifey and a couple of people who are on LinkedIn that I can't see. My man JP, a couple other people out there there's so many people who are responding. I can't see their names because it's not. Thank you all for supporting the show. D, thank you for taking out the time and always a man.
Absolutely, brother.
I appreciate that. Keep us informed. You ever want to shout out again? I'm gonna reach out to you now every couple of days. Say, yo, let me know when you want to do
this. Hey man, even when I'm on the ship with the Wi-Fi, I can still do it.
Yeah.
And give y'all a nice tropical backdrop. You know,
I like arguing with you when it's NBA playoff time, bro. So I'm gonna be
hitting you. Hey man, do you go to Celtic games?
I used to a long time ago. I got a 75. I'm not even trying to fit. Nah, I'm good.
You got a what?
75 inch screen.
Hey, you see that right there? That's what that is.
Yeah,
that's what that is. Because I was gonna say, man, when my cousin comes to town, man, I could get you tickets.
Okay, well, I'll go to that one.
yeah, I can get you tickets. Yeah. I'll find out when he's in Boston, and because he always calls me D. Who you know in this city? Who you know in that city? Who you know in that city? All right, man. Hold on. Give me 20 minutes. I'll get you back. Yeah, we can make that happen. Okay, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate you all. Box seats, y'all. That's doing Daniel Duga. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 to 6. Thank y'all for watching. Take care.
Peace.